Hey peeps, I think I was live for like 2 seconds and then I pressed the button. Don't do it. How many times do I have to tell myself? Don't blink and well do it. Anyway, hopefully you are here. Please let me know if you are here. I haven't got the computer on. Oh, do I? Hang on. Let me just see if it's on in the background and then I'll be able to see if there's any questions. Oh, yes. It says waiting for it to load. So I'm just going to log in. How we doing? Who's here? Who's here? So today is all about strengthening your wrists. Right, I'm going to let that do its thing. Log in. Okay, cool. So I want to give some shout outs, okay, to those guys who've been sharing your stars with me. Bless your hearts, okay? So I think the last three were Diane Webber, Catherine Malone and Kelly Marks. Massive shout out to you girls. You are now on my board. Boom! Which is cool. And if you can't remember why I haven't sent the reminders out, if you want to join us, okay, for the Mission 500 £9 membership for the off the pole training, you need to do it within the next week because that offer goes away, okay? So, right, let me just make sure I am here. Let me see who's saying hello, if anyone is saying hello. It's always embarrassing when you say, you think somebody's saying hello and then maybe not. So let me just log in. Here we go. Oh, hi, Joanna. Just Joanna here. That's okay. If it's only Joanna, fine. I'm glad that you're here, my lovely, and thank you for being live. How you doing? Cool. So you need some help with wrist stuff, which is fine. Hey, Marie, how you doing? Hi, Miriam. How you doing, sweet? Oh, now there's a few more of you. I wonder if it says like... I'm trying to see. Yeah, a super fan. Miriam, you're one of my super fans. Facebook tells me so. It's giving you a badge, which is cool. Okay, cool. Right. So let's get stuck in with wrist strengthening. Now, if you actually are part of the Mission 500 membership, the off the pole training, or if you're a UPP member, if you have access to the our beginner handstand course, then you will already seen in there's wrist stuff that you do pretty much every week anyway to build up that strength, because obviously we do a lot with our hands flat, and if you struggle to get your hands flat, obviously that course is going to be brilliant for helping build that strength. Oh, Joanna, you're going straight on the board, my love. Joanna's just giving me stars. Love to you. Right, let me see if I can get you on here right now. Joanna. I've forgotten your surname already. Oh, here we go. I can see it. Lanes. Actually, you can see the stars. It's the only thing I can see on this phone. I have to go back for the messages. Thank you so much. That's so kind of you. I'm not even giving you any tips yet for it. You might not like it. Who else is here? No handstand course in UPP2. Yeah. Yes, Miriam. Everything is in UPP2. So handstand course is in creativity. So when you get there, I'm trying to think what level it's under. Is it? I think it's higher beginner. I'll have to double check. But yeah, everything's in there. It's just laid out so that you don't overwhelm yourself. So when you get to a point where you need it, you'll be able to get stuck in, which is kind of why I'm doing this as a live now, just in case you need to build up that wrist strength whilst you're working through the foundation modules or developmental modules. You can still do the wrist exercises without having to wait for the handstand course. So hopefully that makes sense to you. Cool. Okay, so of course with anything when it's wrist stuff, so it can be, we use our wrists all the time for on the pole, handstand training. Somebody mentioned it about trying to do a bridge. Oh, I see. Can't access it now though, right? No, not if you're a UPP2 member. You work through the program as it's laid out. So if you guys are confused, so if you're UPP2, which means the Ultimate Progression Program, that's our program, if you follow the program, it is laid out in a order for you to follow. So it's for those guys who don't know where to begin, okay? Or, you try and do everything, you try and fit everything in and you can't. And you keep doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that and you don't end up making progress. The program is designed that you will make progress. You just got to follow it week by week and each session by session, because it's sort of, it builds upon the last. What I don't want you to do is go like you're already thinking, oh, I need to access the handstand course. Oh, I need to do the flexibility. Oh, but I still need to do my conditioning. Oh, I need to do my lessons as well. Oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. That's what the program is designed to take away from you. It is the overwhelm. So you will get to the handstand course, in due course, or when you're ready to get there. So no overwhelm. It will come. It will be in there when it comes. Okay. So don't rush too far ahead to get that. If you are one that likes to pick and choose, then you'll probably want it used to be called UPC or Stretcher membership. It's now called Pole Intensive, and that will give you access to different courses, and everything's unlocked, so you just pick and choose what you want. So there's two kinds of people, which I said to the other day. You're either somebody who needs that structure and likes to follow, and need a plan, or you're somebody that goes, I just need the lessons, I can do my own thing. So we have both options. Anyway, let's get back stuck into wrist stuff, right? Okay, any other questions? No, fab. Alrighty, so warming up the wrists, okay? So, you probably do this without even thinking about it, particularly if you go to studio classes, is literally warming up the wrist like wrist circles, okay? So I'm just gonna pop you here. Okay, awesome. Okay, so you can start by like sitting down, kneeling down, whatever you want to do, just standing, it doesn't matter. So you're just going to have your elbows in, and we're just going to work on rolling the wrist around. Try not to turn them upside down to particularly work on warming the wrist, okay? So little circles around and around the other way. So you can work on maybe doing 15 seconds one way, 15 seconds the other, completely up to you. You could also do reps, okay? So reps or times, up to you, okay? A little finger wiggles as well. That's what I like to do. So again, you can do 15 seconds. The more you warm them up, the better, okay? So you can do some of those. And then we can get down onto the floor into an all-four position, which I should have just set you up really from the floor, shouldn't I? Here we go. Okay, alrighty. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my fingers towards my knees. So I can start quite close. The closer you start to the knees, the slightly easier it is. So what you're going to do is you're going to place your hands down with your fingers pointing towards your knees, and then you're going to push the floor away, okay? So you're trying to get your chest as far away from the floor as possible, pushing those forearms down into the floor. And then you're just going to take your butt and drive it back. And you're going to do this for 5. And again, 4. Just go to where feels okay for you. You don't ever want to hurt yourself. 3, 2, 1. And then on that 5th one, you can always just hold it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just make sure you're always pushing away. And then you can repeat. Okay? Does this make sense? And then again, we can go in forwards. And I like to use my fingers to push back. Coming forwards. Push the fingers back, forwards, push the fingers back, okay? So again, you can always do like reps of 5, and then I like to hold forwards and then squeeze those fingers in, squeeze, 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 push that floor away for a 5-second hold. So yeah, so that's what I would do initially. Does that make sense? Hang on, I'm just seeing what your question is here. I find it hard to do the trigger finger grip. The baseball grip for me is much stronger, but I have to strengthen when I do the trigger grip. What do you mean by trigger grip? I've never heard of a trigger grip. What's a trigger grip? I'm trying to think. What do you mean? I need you to send me a picture or something. I don't know what a trigger grip is. I've never heard of that. That's kind of cool though. Whatever it may be, it sounds cool. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what that is to be able to help you. If you just drop, can you? I don't know if you can actually post pictures in the comments. Can you do that? Let me see. Pointing finger down. So do you mean like this? Like when you're doing bracket grip? Do you mean bracket grip? Where your hand is down? Let me know if that's what you mean. So bracket grips, yeah, that's kind of, alignment is so important when you do your bracket grips, if that's what you mean. Yes, cool. Okay. So yeah, alignment is more important when it comes to bracket grip because you don't want to be here with bracket grips. You always want to make sure, if you're doing bracket grip, is that you're holding onto the pole, with the index finger pointing down, which it sounds like you know, wrapping around. And as you're pushing down, you want your wrist in line with the shoulder rather than be out here. You don't want to be pushing out here. That's going to cause some issues. So alignment is definitely key with that. But of course, strengthening your wrists in general is definitely going to help as well. That's what we call it in the US. I've never heard of that. I love that. I'm going to put that as, also known as another grip for my books and on the portal. That would be cool. Never heard of that. But it makes sense. It does make sense. Okay, so once you've warmed up your wrist, okay, so it's a little bit of wrist warming, you can have a look at doing some exercises either using a resistance band or like a really light hand weight. I don't actually have a light hand weight here, so I'm just going to use a wristband, a resistance band, okay? So I'm going to pop you back over here. Okay, so once your wrists are feeling warmer by doing those rolls, doing those rocks, I'm going to have a look. I'm going to get a resistance band like this. Okay, it's just, what else do they call these? I've forgotten what the other name is for these kind of bands. So anyway, nice stretchy band, okay? So you can just hold on to this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to stand. You can just stand on that band, and then I'm just going to take the arm up in line with my shoulder, okay? So I've got one foot in front of the other, tuck the pelvis in, think about belly button to your spine, stand nice and tall, taking that arm up, okay? So you're trying to get that wrist in line with the shoulder. And then I'm just going to point my knuckles down, and then I'm going to straighten it back up. Point down, straighten it up. Point down, straighten up. Does this make sense? Yeah? And I'm going to go the other way. So from here, try and get your knuckles up. Keep the arms straight. Knuckles up. Knuckles up. Yeah? And how you can do this for reps all the time again. It really depends. Like, if you're not into counting, just get your timer on your phone. Maybe do like 15 seconds, and then do 15 seconds of each, and then swap sides. Does this make sense so far? Okay, so those are really good ones to do. So you can also use the pole to strengthen. I like to use the pole for strengthening my wrists. On a spin pole though. If you don't have a spin pole, if you've just got like a bit of pole or like a broomstick handle or something that you can just hold out, you can do the same thing. So I'm just going to twist the pole, or put the pole on spin mode, so to say. I'm just going to face the pole. And then from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take both hands over to one side, and I'm going to grab onto the pole, okay? So I'm going to take my thumb around, and I'm going to bring my fingers around so that both knuckles are over the same side. And all I'm doing is I'm going to twist the pole. So I'm going to squeeze the pole as much as I can, and I'm just going to turn, move one hand back, and then the other, keeping the arms nice and straight. Squeeze, 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 turning that pole around, okay? Again, you can do this to time, or you can do it to reps. Then you can do the other side. Hold, squeeze, roll. Okay, so I'm just taking that pole forwards, and then you can also take that pole back. So when you're taking it back, I don't know if you can see this. So I'm taking my wrist forwards, and then I'm turning, so I'm pushing the palm away. Okay, so I'm really working through that wrist throughout this movement. Does this make sense? Again, I'm squeezing the pole, and that's going to help with some grip strength as well. I know I've done a very similar video to this, but I love this one. I just think it's great, because if you've got a spin pole, you may as well use it. Let me just see if I've got a whole piece that we can use. Here we go. Okay, so I've just got like a joint. But you can do this exactly the same things. So you can literally have your arms out in front, just holding this, holding a broom handle, whatever you have, especially if you don't have a spin pole. Hold, squeeze. So we can just twist, 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 knuckles over one side, then we can do the same, twist, 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 okay, going one way, then going back the other, back the other. Does this make sense? Okay, awesome. Okay, so those are some exercises that you can do on the pole. Now another one you can do is really working like lifting your fingers, and this is another one that we do in the handstand module as well. So, coming down, okay. So from here, I'm going to have my hands down. I don't know if you can see this. Okay, so I'm going to have my hands down. I'm going to push the floor away as much as I can. And then I'm just going to start with bringing up my thumbs. Okay, thumbs up together and then down. Then your index fingers and down. Middle fingers, hold up, down. Ring fingers, those are the hardest, but try not to bend the elbows. But if you need to, that's okay. And then down. Little fingers as much as you can. You may find it doesn't feel like you're moving. That's all right. Okay, and then you can also do them singly. And then you can go back the other way, starting with your little fingers, ring fingers, middle fingers, index fingers, and thumbs, and then see if we can hold them up. So hold the thumbs up, push the floor away still, okay? Keeping that chest as far away as possible. Lift the index fingers, middle fingers, ring fingers, and then little fingers, so you're just pushing with your palms, okay? And then from here, we can just lift up the palms, sink back down. Lift up the palms, sink back down. We'll keep pushing through those fingers as much as you can, and then we can hold at the top, and we go side to side, so lifting up one side and then the other. Does this all make sense? Yeah, and then come down, and then we can repeat. Yeah. So that's another way of strengthening up your wrists. You may feel a little bit achy, just like for any exercise that you do. You know, if you're working that particular area, it may start to ache a little bit. But that's definitely good. I find particularly those lifting the finger ones can be super helpful for like your bridge work and that kind of thing. And particularly trying to get your hands down flat for the handstand movements. So if you think about your hands might feel flat here, for example, okay, but the minute you try and stack so that you get your shoulders over your wrists, that's where it may feel a little bit uncomfortable and then you really struggle. So you can obviously work on those wrist exercises, which is going to help you with that. Does this make sense? I'm just coming over to see if there's any questions. Hey Kathy, how you doing? Resistance bands, yes. Hey. I have probably missed some questions. So if you've asked something, please let me know. I really struggle with the finger lifting one. My elbows tend to bend. That's okay. I believe, if I remember rightly so, if you take your hands further back, like so they're more closer to your knees, you may find that less pressure through your wrists, if that makes sense. The more you're stacked over the top, the harder it is. But if your elbows start to bend a little bit, that's okay. You've got to start somewhere. Just think, okay, that's fine. It is where you're at right now, but you know over time it will get better and you'll start to feel that you don't need to bend those elbows as much. But you've got to start somewhere. Does this make sense? So don't put it off from doing it. Actually go, this is where I'm at right now. And obviously this is the area that I need to work on to get over that part. And just little and often, okay? Any other questions with that, guys? If I have missed anything, because you know, I don't know why it does this. It only shows me the last 4 comments. If you've said anything after, you know, before these 4 people that I'm seeing on my screen right now, you've had it. I don't know why it does it, but it's showing me comments after the live. Anyway, do you have any questions with that? Okay, and that's pretty much it, because you know you don't want to overstrain the wrists too much. Once they're nice and warm. Oh, I didn't do the back of your hands, did I? That's another one. Okay, so same thing. So instead of having your palms down, we're going to turn the back of your hands over, okay? And then from here, we're going to try and think about pushing the chest away as much as you can. If you feel that's too much, just come back so that you're more towards your fingers are towards your knees, more than being out here. Being out here will be a bit more intense. Bringing it in will just take that pressure off a little bit. Again, you're trying to keep your shoulders, your elbows straight as much as you can in this movement. And you can just come forwards and backwards, just gently, guys, okay? Always do everything gently. You've got to protect these poor wrists, and it will just take a little bit of time. Obviously, once you've done, like any training, just roll them out, give them a good shake out afterwards, okay? Just let them recover, and you'll see over time, anything like conditioning, it will strengthen up. But yeah, just taking that little time in consistency and doing those if that's an area of weakness for you, particularly, you know, with anything that's coming up. You know, with a lot of our moves anyway, we do like some handstandy stuff, like in our structured lessons anyway. But if you are working towards handstands, definitely give that a go. If you are currently working on your flexibility, particularly in your back and shoulders course, where we do the bridges, that's going to be super beneficial to you. If you're struggling to get your hands flat, for sure. Yeah? Okay, this should be nice and short and sweet. I don't want to go on and on and on. I know I bore some of you. So hopefully that's helpful to you. And what I would do is actually create some, like a routine. So you can just like write these exercises down and then like create a routine for yourself, okay? Maybe do 15 seconds per exercise. Maybe you do that, you know, 2 or 3 rounds to complete set of exercises as a routine, a wrist strengthening routine. It really shouldn't take you very long if you think about it. 15 seconds per exercise, maybe a couple of minutes. Won't take too long at all. In a sit spin, I'm just going to read your comment, Joanna, which hold, oh, what happened here? I have just moved it. Don't do that, Callie. Don't do that. Let me go back up here. Okay. In a sit spin, which holds more appointment? I've been told to do a baseball grip, but others tell me the correct is the trigger finger grip. So when it comes to a sit spin, What grip you do is completely up to you. So I personally always say there's no right or wrong in any of the moves that you do, as long as they're safe, and they're not, not causing you any pain. So if you're doing a spin and you put your hand down underneath you, then yes, depending on the move, you may put it in a bracket grip or what you would call a trigger grip. Yeah, you can totally do that. But for example, if you're doing a wrist sit split or wrist sit move, or hello boys is also what it's called, you're going to want a baseball grip. So it really depends on the move that you're doing and also who's teaching you. So, everybody teaches differently. And like I said, as long as it's safe and if you know what your progression is. So for example, there's always a reason generally in our foundation module, the reason why we're doing something with a certain grip is because there may be an advancement on from that move that requires that grip. If that makes sense? So again, ask your instructor or whoever's teaching you, but otherwise play around with both depending on what the move is. Just remember, bracket grip tends to be or your trigger grip tends to be that nice straight line. So I'm just going to go through that on the pole actually for you guys, which I've done. Have I done this before? Did I cover this? I can't remember. I feel like, I've been live every day for the last year. I know I haven't. So when you're doing it on the pole, I'm going to put that pole back on static. So obviously the top arm is pulling down, and then you're going to have what you're calling trigger grip. I call it bracket grip. So you really want to think about pushing as much as you can down with that hand. And equally, pulling down as hard with the top arm, okay? So if you think about pushing the pole into the floor rather than pushing yourself back, it will tend to help you build the strength. And also try and work on this movement without necessarily taking your feet off the floor. You can start to bend your legs, feel a little bit of extra weight through there, but without straining it. So from here, I can think about pulling, pushing down. You see that? If I have a slight bend, I start it around hip level. But the minute I push down, I try and get my wrist nice and straight towards my shoulder. And then from here, you can start to bend the legs, see if you can take your toes off the ground. Okay, and then you can always do both sides, just to help strengthen that wrist. I'm not a massive fan of bracket grip. If I put too much weight through my elbows, it goes... Some of you may be hypermobile, so you have to be super careful if you've got a funny bend in your arm. You have to always have that slight micro bend, so you really have to focus again. Some people know they're hypermobile, some people have no idea until they start something like this. Does this make sense? So do your wrist warm up and exercises, and then you can just practice the positioning for your bracket grip. On the pole, you can always put that as part of your pole conditioning, particularly if you're working on that right now, okay, just to help build that strength up. I see, okay, thank you. You're totally welcome. Hey, Catherine, how you doing? Does anyone else have any questions regarding wrists in pole or anything else that you may be stuck with? I think I've covered most areas. And like I said, I don't want to bore you and keep you here too long. But yeah, there we go. That's how we start to work on your wrists. Anyway, I hope you have... Oh, I'll see you tomorrow. What day is it? I keep thinking it's Friday. It's not Friday. It's Thursday, isn't it? It's Thursday, Kelly. It's Thursday. It's Thursday. I don't know why. This week's been a bit mushy to me, actually. It's been a bit mushy. Cool. All right, my lovelies. Well, I'm going to love you and leave you. Thank you for all the hearts that I can just see popping up here. Thank you. Love the love. And I will see you tomorrow. If you do have any requests, you can always comment on my videos. And I can always make sure that I put them in for the next upcoming live or whatever's coming up afterwards. I'll make sure they get in at some point, okay? But yeah, so don't be afraid to reach out whatever you need help with, and I'll do my best to help you. And if I don't know, I'll find somebody who does. Okay, right. Have a wonderful evening. Don't forget, 7 days left. Okay, if you're not part of our community anyway and you want to be, you have 7 days left to join that off the pole crazy membership at £9 per month, and you can keep that for as long as you are a member. And you can stay for as long as you want, or don't stay as long. It's up to you. Anyway, right, I'm shutting up now. I'm babbling. Have a great evening. I'll see you later. See you tomorrow. Bye.